This is my current home lab, and yes, it is kind of a mess. It just kind of sits here like this, not very elegant. It's a first generation ZimaBoard, and it's been doing its job for a while, but today, it's time to give it an upgrade. This is the ZimaBoard 2. It's a huge upgrade in every single way from the ZimaBoard 1, and today I'm going to show you what makes this thing awesome. Not only that, we're also going to add this 12 terabyte hard drive to it as well because I need all the space I can get. And speaking of storage, we're also going to hook it up with this 256 gig NVMe drive that my buddy Cal from Valley Tech Solutions hooked me up with. Because believe it or not, these things used to be really cheap. What's nice about the ZimaBoard 2 is no longer do we have to have this kind of mess of stack worth of stuff. We've got an actual enclosure, and we're going to build this together today, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. All right, that's enough intro for today. This is the ZimaBoard 2. I did actually want to do the world's fastest unboxing because it's kind of cool the way it comes. So we pop off this little strap, flip the top over here. We've got a nice little letter, and we have the ZimaBoard right here. But one of the interesting things that they have is the case itself. You're supposed to be able to use as kind of a holder if you don't have the actual frame that we have. So you kind of stick it in like this, I believe.
That's what she said.
And then like jam it in there, and there you go. Kind of a case. I guess that works, but you know, if you have nothing else, it'll do. But we're gonna build this way better. And if we go ahead and actually open up box 2, this is our accessories. It's got some cool stuff in here. Some, you know, screwdrivers. You've got a fan. So it's actually got a fan that you can attach to the back of the ZimaBoard to add some active cooling, which I think that's really cool. You've got some power adapters for different flavors of electricity. Of course, your power brick right here, which we'll use to plug into the wall. And then we have our connection wires. Perfect. So the first thing we're supposed to do is take out these 4 screws right here to fit into the case. They give you screwdrivers to do it with, but we're not going to use those because we have better tools. We have our Fantic Next 32 Ultra, what we're trying out for today. And it's a T5, so it's a very, very, very small Torx bit. So we're going to be very careful to take these out, especially because we're using an electric screwdriver because it make it very, very easy to strip things. I'm actually just going to use it like this. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Now we'll grab our case, and it appears to be symmetrical, but it's not because you can see the screws are offset just like it is offset there. So this is going to go on just like so, and we're going to screw it in. They were generous enough to supply some additional hardware with longer screws, so we're going to go ahead and use those. You guys don't really want to watch me screw screws in, so let's just skip forward real quick.
2 very boring minutes later.
Voila. Alrighty, so flip that over. It looks so cool. I love just the industrial aluminum. This is all metal. It's amazing. And the next place to go is to grab in the hard drives and install those because our ports are back here. Gonna need this harness right here. And then we'll just take our drives. I know there's not a lot of space over here. And plug in our wiring harness. There's 1. There's 2. And let's just slot them in, top and bottom. Whoops, they're upside down. I'm an idiot. Hold on.
Nope. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. Fix it, fix it, fix it!
Everybody back in the pile. Oh, it's so pretty. What's cool is that they actually gave you more hardware for this. Here we actually have some thumb screws. Very useful for this project. You can see our holes. This drive's holes are actually blind holes, so they stop at the end. So I'm gonna have to put some washers behind that, but we're not gonna let that slow us down for the moment. God, this thing's heavy. Holy wow. And then the next thing we're gonna do is actually prepare this crazy looking ribbon cable. It's actually really, really nice. Super high quality. I like this thing. And we're gonna attach it to this little mounting harness. All right, got that snugged up. So then from here, we're actually gonna plug this in. We can take our cover off, plug this into here as such. There we go. And then this wraps under this beast, which is getting heavier by the moment. Good God. And screws in just like this. Now remember I said my drives weren't super tight. Well, these standoffs will actually make it so that I should be able to tighten this drive down now. So just gotta line everything up. And then to get those just relatively snug with our fingers, don't need to go nuts with it. But that should, with any luck, firm our drives up. There we go. Drives are in there pretty good. This one's got a little wobble too because the screw's a little bit short, but again, not gonna cause any problems. And then what we'll do is plug in this board, which is our NVMe holder. Very, very cool. I'm psyched. And that just plugs right on in as such to this port that sits down here. This thing is a beast. I told you guys this thing's sick. Actually, I'm just now realizing that, first of all, I forgot to put a screw in there. And second of all, this is way too tall. I have a shorter shield here. So let's first of all screw this last screw in here for good measure. Now, believe it or not, you can actually plug a graphics card into this bad boy, but remember, it's limited to about 60 watts, so you're not plugging your 1080 Ti into here and doing crypto mining. All right, so now that we've got the board populated and set up, let's go ahead and plug it back in. That's much better. Now, they gave us some screws. Let's put this on. Oh, hold on. That's not threaded. Just a second. Well, apparently nothing really goes in that hole since I can't find anything to screw into it, but it seems like it's in there pretty good. I'm not super concerned. And then we're gonna actually go ahead and attach this fan, because we got it. So let's flip this around. It's gonna plug in our teeniest, tiniest connector. Oh, derp, looks like I was supposed to plug that in first, so it came through the slot before I put the whole thing together. So I'm gonna have to redo everything real quick. Sorry guys, 1 second.
Hi kids, it's me, Talking Sasquatch. The planet, don't be a skid. See you real soon. See you real soon.
Alright, so now that we've made a colossal mess, here is our board. We can actually take off the aluminum, oh god, top panel here. And then that's where we plug in our fan. Probably should have done that first. Now I'm going to reassemble this thing back together. 1 second.
More moments later.
Okay, now that we've got that all together. And I also summoned an emotional support nut and bolt right there, which keeps this way better off. Very happy. Shaking the camera. Sorry, guys. So you remove the screw, and then we'll put our little fan on, making sure not to pinch any wires. And we're just about done. Just got to go ahead and plug in our wires. So, uno, dos, tres. And just like that, we have an absolute behemoth of a home lab server, NAS, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to be able to install a whole bunch of awesome stuff. One of the cool things here is that this has dual 2.5 gig Ethernet connections on here, which makes this thing so much faster. I just upgraded my entire network at home, so this should be lightning fast. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this bad boy into the router. Now that it's plugged in, all we have to do is go to the IP address, and you're greeted with this amazing little intro, and we're going to set up the ZimaBoard. Should take 2 seconds. Check it out. Accept the privacy policy, create a local account, so it's going to be whatever your username is, and set a password. We're actually going to start from the App Store because ZimaOS has an absolutely amazing App Store. What's also really cool that I wanted to point out is that you're not stuck with ZimaOS. This is x86 architecture. You could put Windows on it, you could put Arch on it and tell everyone about it. You could put Kali. Anything you want to do, world's your oyster. So yeah, this is the desktop for ZimaOS. So one of the first things we're going to do is a little bit of customization because I think this looks a little boring. So, oh yeah, that looks way better. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and click Update. Go ahead and update the operating system as you always do, and when this is done, we'll get right back at it. All right, so we're all updated and ready to go now. I wanted to show you the App Store because this is where this really shines. It couldn't be easier to install pretty much anything on this. And to prove the point, let's go ahead and install something like, all right, I know I need to install Home Assistant, so let's install that. All you have to do is click the install button. It's creating a Docker container because this is effectively Docker. And yeah, super simple, super easy. We'll give it about 2 seconds and it'll be done. And just like that, we've got Home Assistant. We go ahead and fire it up and yeah, ready to go. So we'll pop back into the App Store and see what else we have in here. We have OpenClaw. We'll actually install that right in the background as well because this thing's got a lot of power. It's got 16 gigs of RAM and its processor is 3 times faster than the original ZimaBoard, so it should be pretty adequate for some local language models. So let's scroll down and see some of the other options we have here. So we have Plex, we have things like Jellyfin, because, you know, you got to have those. And you've got Node-RED, which I really want to learn more about. One of the things I want to try to do with the server is automate some of my YouTube workflow, because I'm super busy, especially this time of year with my other job, and it would be nice to have something helping me out. We have RetroArch Game Emulator, which I'll definitely install later on. I'm going to go build this whole thing up, and if you guys are interested in where I end up with this, let me know. One thing I definitely want to get is Kasm, because Kasm is amazing, so we'll install that. Once this finishes, I'll actually show you how to use Kasm, because it's its own Docker container, but it's got a lot of great features. So let's fire up Kasm. I totally spaced and forgot you actually have to configure Kasm before you can run it, so already done that, and it's the next day. So right now, this is Kasm. You can see all of the configuration menus over here. It looks kind of overwhelming, but it's a lot simpler than it looks. So over here we have Workspaces. So what's cool about Workspaces is these are individual containers, and they are instantaneous instances. That's hard to say. So really what you can do is I can load Kali, so let's hop out of Kali. Man, this loads so fast, like so fast. If I open up a terminal, who am I? Yeah, this runs like I can barely tell any lag whatsoever. It is absolutely phenomenal. What's really cool about this? Watch, check this out. So let's create a document. This is an empty file, says empty file.txt, sure. So now we have this empty file.txt right here. So what's cool about Kasm is this is an individual instance and I can get rid of it. I can even share it. So let's delete the session. There we go. delete. And now if we load Kali back up, you'll notice that that file is gone. So if I wanted to test something, I could actually accidentally download malware and run it on this machine, and it's completely sandboxed off. It cannot touch my main system, and I can delete the instance and it's gone. Remember, it is still connected to the internet, so if you were to do something stupid like log into Google and then download a token stealer, that might get you in trouble, so you still kind of got to be careful. So just to show you how usable and how fast the ZimaBoard 2 is, this is Doom. So I've played Doom on almost everything now. I've played Doom on card computers, I've played it on the Pineapple Pager, I've played it on so many things. So let's go ahead and play it on the ZimaBoard. And actually, oh yeah, that's right, the mouse doesn't really work super good. It's really, really boosty, but this is super playable, like super playable. I had the minute and change on the card computer, so let's see if we can do any better here. I'm just gonna blast through here as quickly as I can. There we go. Run as fast as I can. Whoop, that's not good. I swear if I die. All right. And demo. I think it was a minute 15 on the card computer. 43, heck yeah, I played it on a computer like a normal person. But yeah, it's super cool that you can do that. Now just to escape the game, that's the hardest part, delete session. And you can install so many Docker images on here. Kasm is probably one of the most useful applications I've found on ZimaOS. So if you do have Zima or Casa, definitely check it out. It is indispensable. One of the things I was really excited about was the faster network speeds for that ZimaBoard 2. So let's open up our files and let's go to SDA1, and I'll customize all this later. Complete videos 2026. I'm going to go ahead and drop one of my videos into here for a backup, and let's see how long it takes. So here we go. Drop this guy in here and boom. Now this is an 8 gig file over the network and it's cranking. You can imagine how many files I have to back up, so having a much faster network makes things so much faster and so much easier. And those are just some of the things that you can do with the ZimaBoard 2 using ZimaOS. Remember, it's not just a NAS, it's an entire home lab that you can install anything you want onto. Do you have any application recommendations for it? Because I would love to know. Again, I want to try to AI automate some of my workflow, and I would love to know your feedback. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys are absolute legends. We'll catch you next time.